Welcome to lecture 38. We'll continue from the last class as we were discussing on single tune circuit. So single tune circuit is a circuit where there is one inductor and one capacitor. They are connected in such a way that they will resonate, right? And it means the reactance of inductor is positive and reactance of capacitor, if it is negative, such that they shows no reactance at a particular frequency. So at particular frequency I'll get it the maximum magnitude, and that maximum magnitude where I'll get it the maximum magnitude, that is my maximum frequency. And to obtain the single tune circuit with what we say, whatever the transfer function we will get, let's say voltage ratio transfer function, whatever we will get, that will be generally in the form of omega n square s square plus 2 zeta omega ns plus omega n square. If I am taking the voltage across capacitor at that time, I'll get it this as a standard equation. Okay, and then we have seen that if zeta is less than 1 by root 2, when theta is greater than 45 degree, and the roots which will be complex conjugate, in that suppose I'll get it the roots, that is minus alpha plus minus j beta, and in that case also, in order to get the peaking, what should be the condition? Zeta has to be less than root 2, theta has to be greater than 45 degree, and your beta, that is imaginary component of the pole, has to be greater than the real component of the pole. Then only I will get it the peaking. Okay, something like this. Okay, and I am interested for that particular frequency which I have to obtain, and we seen that omega m square can be obtained using beta square minus alpha square, or in terms of zeta also omega m can be obtained as omega n into square root of 1 minus 2 zeta square. Then also we have derived the relation between q with 1 upon zeta. So q with zeta, that is figure of merit, also can be expressed in as 1 over 2 zeta. And also we have seen, if I have resonant frequency, how can we obtain the two cutoff frequencies or half power point, that is omega c1 and omega c2, using the geometric construction. And how was the construction? First, let's say I will have the pole 0 map like this, and here it is to be noted that the imaginary part has to be greater than that of the real part, that is sigma j omega, and then I will take it real part as a center. Suppose this is my real part minus alpha, beta as a radius, and I will draw the circle, and if I draw the circle, it will intersect on the imaginary axis, and wherever it will intersect on imaginary axis, that will be my omega m. Okay, and if beta is equal to alpha, then what will happen? The circle will intersect at 0, and if beta is less than alpha, then it will not at all intersect. So there is no resonant frequency. Okay, now once I know omega m, then what next? I would like to calculate the half power point frequencies, and for that that we have seen how to construct it geometrically, and for that what we did, we will draw this line, that will be the case, and here what will happen, with this will form an angle of pi by 2. Okay, and then what I'll take it this as a center, and this I will write A, suppose this is B and C, so I'll take it AC or BC as a radius, and I'll draw one more circle like this. Okay, and wherever it will cut on the positive frequency, that will be my omega c2 cutoff frequency. Okay, or higher cutoff frequency, fine. And also we have seen that h of j omega, or whatever the transfer function we will get it, that will be suppose in the form of omega n square upon s square plus 2 zeta omega ns plus omega n square. Then what can be obtained, that again has to check it out to obtain the cutoff frequency, whether do I need to find out the two cutoff frequencies, or I have to find out only one cutoff frequency. That is also the case. You can check it out from here. How? That is, suppose if my maximum magnitude of h of j omega is less than root 2, then what will happen? If I have a sort of response like this, okay, and then if this maximum magnitude is less than root 2, then what will happen with the half power point frequency, which will be 1 by root 2 of this less than root 2, it will be less than 1, and we can see that there will be only one cutoff frequency. I'll get it omega c2. Opposite to it, suppose I have the maximum magnitude of the given function is greater than root 2, then what will happen with the power point? I'll get it 1 by root 2 of that, which will be greater than 1. So with this I'll get it 2 cutoff frequencies, which will be omega c1 and omega c2. So omega c2 we can obtain from this, and arithmetic we use by the use of arithmetic mean, we can calculate the omega c1, that is omega m square, which will be equal to arithmetic mean of omega c1 square omega c2 square by 2. With this I can obtain omega c1 also. Okay. Now with this we'll take it one example, and that example is, suppose I have the network transfer function h of s, which is equal to say 34 over s square plus 6s plus 34. So this is again equal to our required one, that is omega n square over s square plus 2 zeta omega ns plus omega n square. Okay. Now what I'll do, first I will try to find out what is my undamped natural frequency. So what is my undamped natural frequency? It will be square root of 34. Okay. And I would like to know what is the zeta. If zeta is less than 1 by root 2, then only there will be picking, otherwise it's of no use for me. Okay. So what is zeta? Or it's of not my interest here. So zeta will be 6 divided by 2 into root 34, because we know 2 zeta omega n will be how much? 6. So zeta will be 6 upon 2 times omega n. So here this will be 3 by root 34, and obviously this is less than 1 by root 2. So what will happen? So picking will be there. Okay. So picking exists there, and the root, if I'll find out, so what will be my h of s? So your h of s with the roots will be 34 divided by s plus 3 plus 5j and s plus 3 minus 5j. Okay. So here also I can observe that the imaginary component of the pole is greater than the real component, which is obviously 5 greater than 3. Okay. So beta value is 5, alpha value is 3. Okay. And with this, if I would like to construct the picking circle, we can construct it, or if I would like to find out omega m, so omega m square will be computed using b square minus alpha square, so which is 25 minus 9, which is 16. So how much is the resonant frequency, which is 4 here, that is 4 radian per second. Okay. And now if I would like to find out omega c2 using geometric construction, so I can construct it. For that, first what I have to do, I have to plot the pole 0. So let us find out the pole 0 plot here. So for that you can draw, this is sigma, this is j omega, and the pole locations will be at minus 3 plus minus 5j, so this is minus 3. Okay. And this is minus 5j. You will get it the pole location here. So the geometry construction for this example is, we can see here. Okay. So first we have seen that is the pole location, which is at beta b and d, which will be at minus 3 and plus 5j and minus 5j. Okay. Then next what we have taken minus 3 as a center, and this beta, that is 0, b means beta means b, 0 to 5 means 5 as a radius, and we have drawn the circle, and wherever it meets on the vertical axis, that is j omega axis, this is my resonant frequency, and here we can say exactly on 4j it has been matched. So maximum frequency or the resonant frequency is 4 radian per second. Now we know that. Now I would like to calculate what will be omega C2. So to do that, we have joined B to A and D to A, wherever it met, that is my angle pi by 2. We have seen that. Now what is to be done? Take it A as a center, AB or AD as a radius, and draw the circle wherever it cut on the j omega axis. That will be the half power point, or will be the second cutoff frequency, which is omega C2. So here you can see around 6.78 radian per second is my omega C2. So this way, that is this way you can construct the picking circle or half power point circle, and you can find out what is the omega C2 as well omega m. Thus what we have done is that we have obtained the maximum frequency, which was 4 radian per second, by drawing the circle like this. We have seen other figure, okay, and then we join this. Then we have taken this as a center, this as a radius. We have drawn one more circle like this, and wherever it will cut, that will be my second cutoff frequency. Okay, now I would like to find out how much is the magnitude at omega m. Okay, so what I have to find out, basically I have to find out h of j4, which will be 34 divided by s, which is j4 plus 3 plus 5j, and it is j4 plus 3 minus 5j, which is 34 over square root of 9 plus 81 into square root of same 9 plus 81. Okay, so which comes out to be here 34 by 30, and which is 1.133. Okay, so this is my maximum magnitude at j4, because at omega m is equal to 4 radian per second, I should get it the maximum magnitude. So I observe that this maximum magnitude at omega is equal to 4 is less than root 2. Obviously 1.133 is less than root 2. So what I can say from it, I can say that there is only one cutoff frequency or half power point frequency, which will be omega C2. Okay, so there will be only one half power point frequency, which is omega C2, and that from that figure we seen, which is coming out as 6.78 radian per second. Okay, so this way you can obtain. Now suppose I would like to know how much is the magnitude at omega C2, which is 6.72. So what I will do, I will calculate at magnitude at omega is equal to 6.78. So if I'll put it, omega is equal to 6.78 plus 3 plus 5j, then j 6.78 plus 3 minus 5j, and this is nothing but 1.133 divided by root 2, whatever the value you will get. This much is the magnitude at second cutoff frequency, which is omega C2. Okay, so this way we can solve the circuit, or we can find out the parameters of the single tuned circuit. That also you can calculate with the direct formulas. So if I would like to calculate the cutoff frequencies and what will be the omega m, that is resonant frequency for the series resonance. Let me take a series. If it is a series resonance circuit where R, L and C will be in series form, so in that what will be the procedure to compute the parameters? First you find the resonant frequency, okay, which is say omega m. Fine. Then what next? You find out the figure of merit, which is Q is equal to omega m into L by R, and generally here omega m will be 1 over LC, square root of 1 over root LC, sort of. Okay, so this will be 1 over root LC. Then find out Q is equal to omega m into L by R, which is what? This is resonant frequency into time constant. Then third for L by R. Okay. Then calculate the two cutoff frequencies. So formula for that, omega C1 and omega C2 will be resonant frequency omega m into square root of 1 plus 1 over 2 2q square minus and plus 1 over 2q. So with minus you will get it omega c1, with plus you will get it omega c2, and if you substitute k is equal to 1 over 2j, you will get it in terms of zeta, so which will be omega m into square root of 1 plus zeta square minus plus zeta. Okay, so with this you will be able to find out exact values of omega c1 and omega c2. Okay, or approximately omega c1 and omega c2 also can be calculated using omega m plus minus half of the bandwidth. And how to calculate bandwidth? It is the difference between higher frequency minus lower frequency. So bandwidth will be omega 2 minus omega 1, and which is omega m upon figure of merit q. Okay, so this way also you can calculate the parameters of the single tune circuit if RL and C are in series. Similarly, for the parallel resonance circuits, if RL, C are in parallel form with the current source, then parallel resonance circuit. So for that also the process is same. Find out first the resonant frequency, then next find out the figure of merit q. Here you will get it omega m into R into C, not L by R. Only this is the change in parallel circuit. 3 will be find out two cutoff frequencies which will be same, omega m into square root of 1 plus 1 over 2q square minus plus 1 over 2q. Okay. Fourth, or you will get it omega 0, not omega 0, omega n plus minus minus plus minus plus, because first is omega c2 minus plus half into bandwidth, and what will be the bandwidth? It will be omega 2 minus omega 1, which will be same omega m upon q. Okay, so this way also you can compute the parameters of the resonance circuit. Okay, now next we'll start with the two-port parameters. Okay. So now let us turn our attention for a special class of network function that are also very useful for describing the two-port network. So consider the two-port network like this. Suppose I have a black box or network N. Okay, to this I have the two terminals input side, two terminal output side, and let me define the polarities that way. Suppose these are my polarities. Suppose this is V1, this is V2, and these are my conventions. Say this is I1 and I2, I1, I2, V1, V2. Suppose these are in transform form. So now suppose these are my conventions of the polarities which we have been selected. Now we can see that there are four variables. Okay, where the two voltages and two currents. Okay, so now it is noted that there might be other voltages and currents also inside the box, but we assume that these voltages and currents inside the box are not at all available for the measurement, or not important in our particular application which we will select. Okay, so now we have four variables which are V1, V2, I1 and I2, which are available to us, and assume that all are in transform form. Okay, so V1 and I1, what are V1? What are this V1 and I1? These are the voltages and currents at input port. Okay, and V2 and I2 are the voltages and current at output port. Let me call this is my input port obviously, and this will be my output port. Okay, so from this four variables, two variables will only be independent and two variables will be dependent. So from that again we can categorize that out of these four variables, two variables will be dependent and other two variables will be independent. Okay, So now what will happen, the specifications of any of the two variables determine the remaining two variables, right? So if v1 and v2 are specified, then I can obtain i1 and i2. So also the dependency of two or thus dependency of this two of these four variables on other two variables can also be described in a number of ways, right? And it depends on which of the variable are chosen as the independent variable and which variables to be chosen a dependent variable, because out of four I can choose any two variables as an independent variable and I choose variables as dependent variables. So in this course probably we'll see these 6 type of different combinations which will be having the dependency parameters, okay? And the name of their parameters are basically chosen to indicate the dimensions. So if I indicate the dimension, then the parameters will be impedance and y, that is z parameter and y parameter if they are dimensionless, if they are indicating the dimensions. Then if there will be lack of consistent dimension, then it will be your hybrid parameter and with its inverse hybrid parameter, and again depends on the principal application of parameter, that is called as transmission parameters, okay? So here we will see the 6 type of parameters. One is your z parameter, then there will be the y parameters, then ABCD parameters are called as transmission parameters, fine. Then inverse transmission parameters or inverse ABCD, then named at hybrid parameters, and also inverse hybrid parameters. And basically out of 4, if I'll use the different combinations of the in terms of dependency and independency, I will get it this type of 6 parameters, okay? And these z parameters are basically also known as open circuit parameters, okay? And these y parameters are known as short circuit parameters also. In different books they have used different names. So this is ABCD or transmission parameters, inverse transmission parameters, hybrid or it is named as H parameter also, and inverse hybrid or it is named as G parameter, okay? So now let us see each parameter one by one. So first we will see the open circuit parameter. Okay. So basically in open circuit parameter, let me define what are the dependent variable and independent variables. So in this case, dependent variables will be V1 and V2, and obviously what will be my independent variables? Independent variables will be I1 and I2, okay? So let us write it again. So suppose I have the network N, okay, to this is V1, this is I1, and this output port V2, and say this is I2. These are my conventions now, okay? Which convention we have used here? Yeah, same. Okay, so if these are the cases, and network is obviously has to be LTI system only, so we can, with this we can write the two sets of generalized equations which will be in linear combinations. So that may be A1 V1 for example plus A2 V2 plus again what I can write in terms of this I1 B1 I1 B2 I2 plus C1 which may be equal to 0. Similarly A3 V1 plus A4 V2 plus B3 I1 plus B4 I2 which plus C2 is equal to 0, okay? Now C1 and C2, these are coming because of the independent sources in the network, and already we told that we have assumed that it is, we don't know, and these are not required for a particular application. So if we don't have any information, so we will assume that C1 and C2 are 0. Okay. So with this, what I can write as A1 V1 plus A2 V2 plus B1 I1 plus B2 I2, okay, that is equal to 0, and then A3 V1 plus A4 V2 plus B3 I1 plus B4 I2, that is also equal to 0. So with this I can write in matrix form, which may be, A into V bar, which is also equal to B into I1. I can write that way. And what will be my A will be A1, A2, A3, A4, and B I am shifting on to the right hand side. So B will be the negative values of minus B1 minus B2 minus B3 minus B4. This is for convenience, I have written B, positive matrix. Okay. And what will be I? V bar will be V1, V2, and I bar will be I1, I2. Okay. Now according to my convention, I can write the voltages in terms of currents. Okay. So what I can write now, V vector will be equal to A into inverse into B into I. Okay. And A inverse will exist only when determinant is not equal to 0. Okay. So if determinant is equal to 0, there is no existence of this, and this, let me call it as Z. Okay. So with this I can write the V vector will be equal to Z into I vector. Okay. So basically this is the voltage form. Voltage has been expressed in terms of current. So now what I will say, these are my dependent variables, and this I1 and I2 are my independent variables. Okay. So from that, let me write the equations. So what is that equation? Dependent equation, that is V1, which is my input voltage or voltage at input port, will be equal to Z. So I will write Z11 Z11 I1 plus Z12 I2. Similarly, what is V2? V2 will be Z21 I1 plus Z22 I2. Right? Okay. And now this will be, this way you can express the voltages that are the dependent variables into independent currents, that is I1 and I2. Now what I'll do, as we call it as open circuit, so I would like to know each voltage and current. Okay. So for that, let me define first I2 is equal to 0, what I'll get it, and then let me define if I1 is equal to 0, what I'll get it. Okay. Fine. So with this, what can be done? Say this is my network, and these are the two ports, plus minus V1 I1, and this will be plus minus V2 and I2. So what I'll do, I'll make it open circuit. So obviously if it is open circuit, I2 will be 0, and I will measure V1 and I1. Okay. So if this is the case, then what will happen with this equation 1 and equation 2? So if I2 is equal to 0, then what will happen? V1 will be equal to Z11 I1, means what? Z11, this parameter I can obtain as V1 upon I1 when I2 is 0. Similarly, Z21 from here, Z21 can be obtained as V2 upon I1 when I2 is equal to 0. Okay. So what is this? Basically Z11 I am looking from here. Okay. So this is basically what? This is your driving point impedance. because that I am taking from the same terminal. So this will be your driving point impedance, right? And what about this? This will be your transfer function, right? So it will be impedance transfer function. Okay. Now what next I will do? I will now make it I1 is equal to 0, means input terminal is open circuited. Okay, and here I had applied I1. Now what I'll do? In the next network, I2 will I1, I make it 0, but still I know V1, and then I'll apply the source as I2 here, which will be this, and the voltage across this will be V2. Okay, now if I1 is equal to 0, and if I'll substitute in these equations, what I will get it? I will get it Z12 will be equal to V1 upon I2 when I1 is equal to 0. And what about Z22? Z22 I will get as V2 upon I2 when I1 is equal to Z. I1 equal to 0. So what is this I1 V2, V1 I2? This will be your again the impedance transfer. Okay. This is impedance transfer function, and this will be the driving point impedance. Okay, so now what I can again say from this, that there will be in open circuit parameters, there will be two driving point functions and two transfer functions. That will be impedance form. Okay, that's why these parameters are known as open circuit parameters, and the dimension is of impedance. Okay, now let me characterize it for the realization. So this can be characterized or visualized as follows. So what is that? V1, let me write here again. No need to write, why it is already written there. So this can be visualized as, this is my, first let us say this is my network. Okay, let me rub this. So this is my network, and to this, these are my input terminals, these are my output terminals. Okay, and this is my V1 and this is my I1. Okay, so how can we visualize? This will be my Z11 impedance. So Z11 you can obtain as V1 over I1. And what about the Z12 here? So you can write it as current controlled voltage source. That way you can visualize. Okay, and what will be this value? This value will be Z12 into I2, which is I2 here. So this will be your current controlled voltage source. Similarly, what can be visualized for second equation? This is my Z22, and again there will be one more voltage source, and whose value will be Z21 into I1. So this is again current controlled voltage source. Okay, so this way also we can visualize the things. Okay, now next what we will do, we will try to impose the reciprocity conditions here, and let's see what kind of relation we will get it. Okay, so now suppose we say that our network is reciprocal, and what is when we say that the network is reciprocal, if the two-port network is reciprocal, then what type of condition we will get? That basically we would like to see. And what is the reciprocity? It is basically the ratio of response to current, I mean V voltage upon current. And if I change the orientations, so both the thing has to be constant. What does it mean? Suppose I have this network, and okay, to this I have applied, let's say, voltage V1, I1, let me define in terms of our parameters. Okay, and suppose this is my I2, so I will take it the ratio which is V1 upon voltage current ratio. So, okay, so suppose I got it this. Now I will change the orientation. I will apply the voltage source now at the output terminal here. Okay, and I will note down the current, that is I1. This is same network, and this is my V2. So I will get this ratio V2 upon I1. Now if I am saying that the network is reciprocal, this will happen if and only if V1 I2 will be equal to V2 by I1. So let us check it out. What kind of condition we will get it for the reciprocal network. So for the network to be reciprocal, we know this V1 upon I2 has to be equal to I1 upon V2 upon I1. So let us check it for this our Z parameters. Okay, so same this we will apply here. Okay, so this is the condition. I would like to calculate how much is V1 upon I2. So calculate V1 upon I2. So we know that V1 is equal to Z11 I1 plus Z12 I2. Similarly, we know V2 is equal to Z21 I1 plus Z22 I2. Okay, now here if I am short circuiting this, so what will happen? V2 will be equal to 0. So if V2 is 0, then from first equation what I can write, V1 is equal to Z11 I1 and I2. So I will divide I2 to the first equation. So you will get it Z11 I1 upon I2 plus Z12, right? And this is from equation 1, this is equation 2, this is equation 3 which I got it. And from equation 2 what we can obtain, this is 0 is equal to Z21 I1 plus Z22 I2. So from that I can write Z22 I2 will be equal to minus Z21 I1. Okay, and then I can obtain the relation, that is I1 upon I2, which will be equal to minus Z22 upon Z21. Now this 4 I will substitute in 3. So you will get V1 upon I2 will be equal to Z11 into minus Z22 upon Z21, okay, plus Z12. So if you solve, what will be the result? Minus Z11 Z22 plus Z12 Z21 over Z21. Okay, this is, let's say, equation number 4, 5. Okay. Now what next? Now next I would like to obtain what is my V2 upon I1. Okay, so next what I will do, I will try to obtain what is V2 upon I1. So from this, so again I can write V1 is equal to Z11 I1 plus Z12 I2, and V2 will be Z21 I1 plus Z22 I2. Okay, now I would like to know what is V2 upon I1. So I will divide this equation by I1. So I will get V2 by I1 is equal to Z21 plus Z22 I2 upon I1. Okay, and from equation 1 what I have done, first input port are short circuited, so V1 is 0. So from that also I can obtain the I2 and I1 relation. So because minus Z11 I1 will be equal to Z12 I2. So from that I2 upon I1 I can write as minus Z12 upon Z11. Okay, that I will substitute here. So what will be V2 upon I1? So V2 upon I1 will be Z21 minus Z22 into Z12 upon Z11. Okay, I2 upon I1 will be, sorry, this is Z11 over Z12. So Z22 into Z11 over Z12, say call equation number 6, and I'll compare 5 with 6 which we have derived here. This equation I will compare with the equation which we have obtained here, so which was Z21, okay, So which was Z21 means now Z12 into Z21 minus Z22 Z11 over Z12. This is the case, and this should be equal to this one, which was Z12 Z21 minus Z11 Z22, and this will be, this is what, this is Z21. Okay, so this and this will be vanished, so it will be 1 over Z12 equal to 1 over Z21, and with this I can write Z12 will be equal to Z21. Okay, so if the network is reciprocal, then what we can obtain, Z12 will be equal to Z21, and if it is symmetric, then Z11 will be equal to Z22. Symmetric means your driving point impedance at port 1 and port 2 are same. Okay, so what is the condition for the network to be reciprocal? It should be Z11 with, it should be Z12 has to be equal to Z21. Okay, so this way we can obtain the Z parameters. Now let us take it one example. So suppose I have this. Okay, so plus minus V1 I1 plus minus V2 and I2, and suppose this is R. Okay, so first what is to be done? I2 has to be equal to 0. So if I2 is 0, then what will happen with V1? V1 will become simple I1 into R, right? So what will be my driving point impedance for first case, which is V1 by R1 is R, which is Z11. Okay, now what next? Or if I2 is also 0, then because let us write first equation. So V1 is Z11 I1 plus Z12 I2, V2 is Z21 I1 plus Z22 I2. Okay, so I2 0, so I got it V1 by I1. Similarly I2 0, so what should I get it? V2 should be equal to Z21 into I1. So I would like to find out what is the V2. So V2 will be equal to what now? If you look at here, V2 will be, I2 is 0, so I1 is only flowing, so V2 will be equal to I1 into R. So V2 upon I1 will be again R. Okay, now next I will put I1 is equal to 0. So if I1 is equal to 0, what I would like to obtain? What is V1 upon I2, which is V1, V2 upon I1 is what? It will be Z22. Okay, so this is V1 upon I2 if I would like to obtain it. So at what will be at I1 will be equal to 0. So what is V1? V1 I can write as now I2 into R. So V1 upon I2 will be simple R. Okay, you can look from here. So V1 upon I2 is simple R. Fine. This is my Z21. Okay, now I would like to obtain what is V2 upon I2. Okay, no, this is Z12. Z12 is R. Now I would like to obtain Z22. So for obtaining Z22, what I have to do? I have to obtain V2 upon I2. And what will be V2 upon I2? If you look from here, I1 is 0, so V2 upon I2 is also R. Okay, so what is my Z matrix? It will be Z11 is R, Z12 is also R, Z12 is also R, yeah, Z21 is also R, and Z22 is also R. So this network is reciprocal as well as symmetrical. So you can say this network is symmetric as Z11 is also equal to Z22. Okay. Next is if I'll take it, this is my two-port network basically. Okay, and inside that suppose I have a series R. Okay, and this is my V1, apply I1 here. Okay, which is I1, and here I2 will be 0. Okay, and generally I2 this, and this is V2. Now I2 is open circuit. Okay, so I2 is 0. So even if I2 is 0, let me obtain what is V1 by I1 here. So I2 is 0, but what will happen because of this short circuit? I1 is also be 0. So if I1 will also be 0, so what will happen? V1 upon 0, this is infinite. Okay, so in this particular network, if the series resistor here like this, your Z parameter doesn't exist. Okay, so from that, the reason I wanted to tell you is it's not necessary that Z parameter will always exist. There may be the circuits where Z parameter may exist, may not exist. It means what? A inverse, that is determinant of A, may not be equal to 0. So let us prove that already we have seen. So here what is happening? Let me write the algebraic equation. So it will be I1 plus I2 is equal to 0. This is one equation I can write. And what about second equation? That is V1. So this V1 will be equal to what? This is V2 plus I1 into R. Okay, so V1 I can write as I1 into R plus V2, and let me express in that form A1 V1 plus A2 V2 plus B1 I1 plus B2 I2, that is 0, and A3 V1 A4 V2 B3 I1 plus B4 I2 is equal to 0. So from this network I can write such kind of two equations. So what will happen? This will be 0 V1 plus 0 V2 plus 1 I1 plus 1 I2, that is 0. Here V1 is 0 minus V2 plus I1 plus 0 into I2, which is 0. So what is A matrix now? So your A matrix will be 0 0 1 minus 1, and let me find out the determinant of it. So what is the determinant? Determinant is 0. That's why A matrix doesn't exist here. Okay, so this way also you can visualize the things. Okay, so with this we stop here. Thank you.